Thanks for tuning in. You're listening to the Shred Coach podcast with Tom Adams. Heather Fitzanko, Vice President of AAA Certified Confidential Security Corp of Peoria, Illinois, shares her unique small business service program with Tom on this episode. About 4 years ago, Heather launched the ShredSmart program, an annual billing program for select small business clients. You can learn how she implemented the program, the benefits and challenges she's uncovered along the way, and the advice she has for you if you choose to do something similar.
Heather Fitzanko, welcome to the Shred Coach podcast. I'm really glad you're here.
I am so happy to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, you have been a long time member of the shredding community. I can't remember how long you've been around. It's been a long time. And you and I have known each other a lot of years. But for context, if people don't know who you are, tell us a little bit about the company you work for, where you are, what you do, all of that kind of stuff. Give me the in a nutshell version of Heather's world.
Okay. Well, I started working for AAA Certified Confidential Security Corp in 2004. So it's almost been 19 years now. I just don't know how that happened, but confidential security been around like 38 years. And I started in when the company was still just having some growing pains. Mobile shred was kind of really coming on the scene, and we were just trying to figure out how to continue to build the market. Our market is Central Illinois. We actually cover the central third of the state. We're from the Iowa border to the Indiana border and a good portion of the heart of Illinois.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about how do you just because when you said the name of your company, it's really long. So how do you typically describe, like when you say your company name, do you call it confidential security? Do you call it a acronym? How do you describe it? Because it's a big name.
It's a big name. Confidential security is what we answer the phone as.
Okay.
And AAA certified, we own that. We were the first shredding company to be AAA NAID certified. So we took that as part of our name. Very proud of that.
Yeah.
Tom Simpson, the owner of the company, was actually the one who came up with the NAID certification. And so we're really proud of that it played in Peoria, here in Peoria, Illinois.
Yeah. Now, Tom's a legend and, in the shredding industry, an absolute legend, but you've been part of this ride for a long time. And so that's why I'm really excited to have you on the show. So tell us a little bit more about confidential security in terms of, are you purely a shredding business? Are you mobile plant? Give us an idea of the actual services that you provide.
We are a plant-based shredding company. We're certified to destroy all information-bearing media. So we have an area for destroying hard drives, electronics. Memory now is hidden in so many different types of devices. It doesn't make sense to say we only destroy hard drives. So anything with information on it, I like to jokingly say to my customers, anything without heartbeat, because if there's something you want destroyed, we'll find a way to do it.
Right.
But we have our limit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And roughly how many staff are with confidential security? How big of an operation?
We would like to have about 15 employees, but as everybody is suffering, we are probably sitting around 11.
So you're all plant, no mobile shred trucks. You're not running mobile shred trucks at all. It's just collection trucks.
Yes.
Okay. Right. Any other businesses like ancillary services? Are you doing scanning so many companies these days have these ancillary businesses sort of attached. Anything you're doing?
No, we just destroyed things.
Perfect. All right. So you're really one of the oldest businesses in the industry. I think, based on all of the research I've done, Confidential is like one of the original companies in the whole industry. So it's really cool to be a part of that. And so, as you know, on the podcast, one of the things we talk about is a specific strategy, tactic, tool, thing you've implemented that has had what you consider really solid results coming from it. And so I'm really interested in what Confidential has been doing, what you've been doing, what you've been leading that has had particularly good results for you.
So the fun thing about a small business like ours is being flexible, listening to what the customer's pains are, what they need, and then developing a strategy or a process to help them make their job easier. And our customers appreciate our flexibility. And the thing we came to talk today about is a program that developed out of a pain, more or less, is the ShredSmart program. And the ShredSmart program is a annual program, prepaid program. Some of my customers are small. A lot of my customers are small businesses. And as I told you, 99% of all employers are small businesses. So that's a really good market.
Right.
So insurance agents and financial advisors and small attorneys, they're just running a small business and they need our service. But having accounts payable is one of the things that is not high on their priority. So every month I run a statement of who's paid or who hasn't and send out a letter. And very quickly I'll get phone calls back. Oh, I'm so sorry I missed that. So it was a waste of my time, a waste of their time. I didn't need an apology. I just wanted to remind them. And so I thought, how can I eliminate this? And some of our customers would say, can I just, or they wouldn't even ask. They just send us a check for like 6 months worth of payment because they just didn't want to have to worry about accounts payable every month.
Right.
And some of our customers want routine, like us to automatically charge their credit cards. And we don't do that. So I came up with the ShredSmart program, and we do things like this with other organizations where we pay our car insurance on an annual premium basis.
Mm-hmm.
So I just developed this plan and it has worked out well. A lot of customers do appreciate that. We have government agencies that use it. Another selling point is you get it off your books. It's a budget item. So you pay that item and it's set for the whole year. And when budget time comes around again, you just allot that amount of money. And it's worked pretty well.
Love it. I got a whole bunch of questions that have raised just as you've explained it. So first one is, it's called the ShredSmart program.
Mhm.
And was there a reason you called it ShredSmart? Is it because you could, sort of sign the contract and forget about it? What was the ShredSmart part of it? I'm just intrigued by that.
I just thought it was a really smart idea.
Okay.
You
Love
need to have a shredding program and be smart about it. And, I don't know. I just thought it.
Love it. Right. So with the ShredSmart program, you talk about annual prepaid service. So is essentially you're basically doing 1-year renewals? Is it like it's basically a 1-year contract?
It's a 1-year contract.
Got it. Okay. And so within that, is it just sort of for a single bin, single console, or do you have variations on the theme? Like, is it you only get in the ShredSmart program and you pay a year in advance if you have one bin once a month, or do you have a whole bunch of different ShredSmart options, basically, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, we are a flexible company, so it's not too difficult for us to create a ShredSmart program with multiple bins or a different service frequency. It's just an annual pay program. That's the main gist of it. My advertising does say one bin, one price. So most commonly, this program works for, like I said, small businesses who know they need a program. They're probably not going to fill their bin up every month. They just know that they need to prove that they have a way to protect the information.
Right. Okay. Of course, I'm always going to work on process and how does this all. So we know in the shredding world that people fill their bins or their consoles, but there's those times during the year they double up on it, or they go, I need just a small extra purge done. So how do you process that with the ShredSmart program? Is it just then an invoice that gets sent independently?
It is.
Okay.
So if they have a box purge, that is going to be an additional invoice. Or if they fill their bin up early and they want an early pickup, we can accommodate that and we'll just invoice you.
Right. So the ShredSmart program is a way for you, I recognize that there's a benefit to the customer, but from your perspective, it saves you from having to do regular billing. What other benefits or features has it created for you? Not necessarily for the customer, but for you. Because you said part of the dilemma was having to send out all these invoices was kind of a pain. But what other things have you found this has benefited you as a company and from an operational or administrative perspective?
Well, we don't have accounts receivable for all of these little checks every month. It's a product that is unique to us. So it's marketing. It's a unique product.
Right. You said that people would call those. So my guess is that with that too, it's the hassle of dealing with the inbound stuff from invoices that before you implemented this program, it was just the administrative load of this, right? Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, it was an administrative load. Yeah. We want to set it and let it run itself. Set a program and let it run itself. And when everything works perfectly, you contact the customer, for how are things going? But to contact them for late notices and them calling me back, it was just
Yeah.
too much. It became a common, the third week of the month, I spend the whole week dealing with stuff like this. I'm like, I
Ah,
really could do better things than this.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
administratively.
So what have customers said to you when you offer this? Like how does this ring? Obviously you're talking about it today because it's working, but like, how does this work when you deliver this option to your prospective client? What do they say? Like, do they latch onto this and do their eyes light up? Does it make sense to them? I'm just interested in how it plays in the marketplace.
Well, I think because I say it's kind of like an insurance policy that you pay an annual fee and you have a program for the whole year. It's not difficult for them to understand. And so I give them both options. You can pay as you go. We have that. If you want to send an invoice every month and you make payment every month, you can do that. Or we can just set up an annual pay program where you repay for the whole year of service. And they sometimes need to talk to their board or something like that because it's a budget item that exceeds,
Right.
whatever. But if I get them, the more I talk about them, yeah. I was afraid also about managing it. So I haven't
Mm,
really advertised a lot. I have a page on my website. I have postcards and I selectively, feed it out there to people because I didn't know administratively if it was going to be a load. Now, every month I have renewal. So I have to,
mm.
I have customers every month that are renewing and it's fitting in just like any other type of invoice.
Right. So it's a standard renewal process once a year, but those aren't all driven from January the 1st. It's like
No,
an anniversary date renewal structure.
correct.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you found any issues with the process, either from your perspective or from the customer side with this program? Like any obstacles you've hit with it that you go, we could adapt that? Or because how long have you been doing this program? I don't even think I asked you, when did you start doing this ShredSmart
Mm,
program?
Maybe 4 years
Okay. So it's relatively
before
recent.
2020. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So has anything shown up that you go, we could have done that better, or yeah.
We have been doing better in that we used to have the renewal date kind of hidden within the service dates, and that was
Mm,
that. So we fixed that. Now the renewals are set up on a different system. And then we used to adjust if the customer called early, we used to adjust their service frequency based on the call in. And now it's no, we're not adjusting the service date. If you call in or if you miss a date, then the program's still set. It's set in stone. We send you a calendar.
right.
That's how it is. So
Okay.
we'll work with you if, a little bit, but we're not changing those future dates down the line.
Okay. So what's been important to you is established a structure to it that doesn't have a lot of flexibility. While you're a flexible company, this program works better when you have clear definitions for the clients about how to implement it with them, dates, times, collection
Yeah.
schedule, those kind of things. Okay. And
And
so
again,
when somebody goes off the rails on that, is that considered the extra billing piece? Like,
yeah, the only time that you really go off the rail is, okay, let me back up. If they need an extra pickup, then we will do that and we'll bill them. If we show up at their door and for whatever reason they were at lunch, we will quickly try to reschedule that
Mhm.
pickup and get that accomplished. What I don't want to do is change the date. So, from June and now in July, I'd have to move it back a week. So you don't have a 3 week. So I don't want to keep
Mm.
adjusting that way. So although I'm sounding inflexible, we still work with them. It's
Right. Yeah, no,
uh,
I get that part because that's the nature of your business, but it's also when we implement these programs and tools and services, sometimes we find as we evolve them, there are certain things that we need to do more efficiently, more effectively. We got to create more rigid structure. Even though we're flexible, there is the need for that. So what other lessons have you learned in the last 4 years about this, that if somebody listening to this program goes, I'm going to do that, what other lessons might you encourage them to think about? What other lessons have you learned that you would say, don't miss this step, don't neglect to do this in the process, either from a marketing side, a sales side, an operational side? You've given us a few, but do you have any more lessons you've learned?
I think the thing that I've had to adjust to the most was the renewal. how to make sure that you don't miss that date. So if you have a quarterly customer, your renewal maybe is 2 months in advance. Well, or if you have a customer, so renewing it early enough so that if they say, well, we don't want to do it anymore, that you'll pull the bin on their last service, which honestly, I haven't had anybody do that. But I want to make sure that on the 11th month, they know that they're up for renewal. So you have pay the bill or ask for us to cancel service. So getting that done early enough.
And do you have a tool that you use, or is that like built into a QuickBooks system, a CRM system? How do you do that?
Well, we use Easy Shred. So all
Okay.
our scheduling is done in Easy Shred. So I used to have, like I've said, the invoice date built into their service frequency. And that proved to be a little confusing. So now I've created a whole new building. So the building is the ShredSmart building under each customer. So every customer has their own building, and then they have a ShredSmart building. And the ShredSmart building runs the renewal.
Interesting. So you've somewhat hacked Easy Shred to do this for you. That's beautiful. I think everybody does that. Everybody I talk to has a way that they've leveraged the software, not in the way it was originally delivered, but to do these kind of things. That's really brilliant.
I hacked it.
Yeah. So then from the perspective, then once that renewal date shows up in Easy Shred within that building, then does that then translate over into a QuickBooks invoice?
We invoice that at Easy Shred, and then
Okay.
it does get transferred into QuickBooks. Another thing that has changed, well, then at that point, you're going to have most often every year, you're going to have a price increase, So at that point, then you're going to recalculate what your fee structure is going to be.
Right. And so that's an important piece of this puzzle too, because, at a lot of shredding companies, what happens during the year, especially the year we've had this last year when fuel prices have risen dramatically. In a lot of cases, a fuel surcharge gets added or some other thing. You've had to live with the price you set for the year. So then the renewal process, it's really important to use price increases at those renewal dates.
Right. Yeah.
Any other lessons you've learned in this implementation?
Always learning. I don't have any one specific thing.
Okay. So a shredding company comes to you today and says, I want to do this. What would your 3 pieces of advice be? What are the first immediate pieces of advice you'd give another shredding company?
I would start slow like I did and be selective in the type of client that you chose. And then I use that. This is a program that is well received in the insurance industry. So insurance agents, this is a really good program for an insurance agent. And so you can speak well to them. You know how it works. Insurance agents need a program and they don't ever fill up their bin. So you kind of want to know the industry and the tendency for what they're going to do. You don't want to start off or convert customers that they're like clockwork. We know exactly what their needs are going to be. And then you can create a program. This is going to simplify what we already do for you, an annual pay program. And so that would be my advice.
Okay.
I wouldn't jump in throwing a bunch of marketing and getting a bunch of people started on that.
So do you find this plays better during the marketing stage or the sales stage? Because I know you said you have a page on the web. It's in the sales process that it tends to work the best. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not like people are calling you and say, can I do a 1-year program?
No. Well, don't even think of that. No.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that's great. Okay. So the thing for me is there practical impact and is there value to your business? And one of the things that I like to imagine is that these ideas have a $10,000 value to them. And so how has this created significant value or impact in your business in a very practical way? Like what's it done for the business?
Well, we talked about the time saved. So the clients that we're getting, we have a 1-year contract. So we know how much we're making on that client per year. It's a different marketing tool.
Yep. And like, you don't have to give me exact numbers, but in a company of your scope and size, how many people or what percentage of your customers would be on a program like this, roughly? I don't need the exact, but.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what percentage of my customers are on that. I know how many customers I have. I have almost 100 customers on this program.
Okay. So, but that on a yearly basis becomes a very big, I mean, that's a really solid number.
It does add up to
Yeah.
some good income. And like I said, based on that, I'm moving slowly. I'm not advertising this. I'm
Right.
selecting the customers that I have. It's eliminating some of the processes that I continually had to do for collections and invoicing. I invoice once a year. I don't invoice 12 times a year.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Well, very cool. Well, I really appreciate, Heather, you sharing this insider secret of yours, because now the world kind of knows about it, because millions of people listen to this show. So,
Oh, yes, yes.
so one of the things I like to do at the after we've had a discussion is I go digging a little bit into your life, and there's two things that stand out to me about your world. One is Rotary, and one is cycling. And so, whatever path you want to go down, tell me about either of those two passions of yours,
Ooh.
or both if you want.
Oh, I feel like I should be socially responsible and say how great Rotary is, which it is. But if you want to talk about my passion,
Yes.
being lost on a road on, riding my bike. Yeah, that's my psychologist, my free time. I just really enjoy exploring the country on a bicycle. And
So are you a long distance cyclist? Are you like a hardcore road racer? What's your thing?
I am a touring cyclist. I
Touring
like to go long distances. I'm not competitive. Well, I don't race. So I have a
Right.
competitive streak, but
Right.
I don't compete actually. But I do enjoy
So what's the longest cycling trip you've ever been on?
twice I did a week-long ride. It's Rad Ride for a fundraiser. And it was about 500 miles in 7 days. You ride across to Iowa.
Wow.
And if you know Iowa, it's very hilly. And it's in the last week of July, so it's very hot. Camping.
And you camp during the whole thing.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I'm out. I am not in at all. Well, that's very cool. Well, I also know, and we touched on it, that Rotary is a really important part of your life. If you follow your LinkedIn profile, you are a perpetual poster of everything Rotary. And so it seems to me like you're like an insider in the Rotary world, because you're just like posting all the time about Rotary. So
I'm actually the newsletter editor for Rotary. So that's
got it. That makes sense then.
But yes,
Wonderful.
Rotary does some great things worldwide and locally. And I enjoy being a part of making a small difference. And the people that I meet for Rotary are very good-hearted business people. And I really enjoy the connections that I make that way.
Wonderful. Well, Heather, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing the ShredSmart program. Thank you for your years in this industry. You have been a part of this industry a long time, and thank you for all you do in the greater shredding industry as well. So really appreciate you being here today, and thanks for sharing.
I appreciate all you do for our industry too, Tom. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again for listening to the Shred Coach podcast with Tom Adams. Make sure to tune in every week for a brand new $10,000 strategy or idea from trusted shredding and business professionals.